Hey everyone, my name's Dratlaw44, so welcome back. So today I just wanted to cover a bit more footage about the good old Armed and Dangerous, talk about Lifeline and a couple of other things. But of course, in the meanwhile, do remember to never stop moving, never stop believing, and stay Apex. So getting into the first game then, of course, this is me as Lifeline now. I have to say that Lifeline is really strong. And I would say that, you know, being realistic, she's easily got to be a top 5, if not a top 3 legend in the way that she can play. And you'll kind of see exactly this in regards to the gameplay. Now, I was a little lucky. I mean, I had a triple take, pretty much didn't have a lot else. I had purple shield already from the damage that I'd done, which is really good. And that goes to show how easy it is to pick up, you know, purple shield from the sort of like armed and dangerous side of things. The only downside is the lack of shields, and I didn't get a chance to finish anyone off to replenish. Real shame, but one of those things. The health drone is so good, and the fact now that it recharges every minute is insane. Definitely a really good thing, but alongside her passive, this just makes her really viable in pretty much any mode, and especially this mode. I think this is probably one of her best modes that she could play, because at the end of the day, she's really strong. She's got a permanent health option compared to everyone else who hasn't, and that is really good. Now, luckily our colleague downed the other one. That was fine. You can see the passive. I'm getting hit, which is really unfortunate. Luckily though, already my health drone has replenished, so I'm able to heal again. You know, I mean, unfortunately I spent most of this part without any shields, because for some reason I couldn't find any. I don't know why, but it's one of those things. Now, I did think that this was going to be one of those kind of games. It was looking pretty good at the start. Kind of crazy. Definitely Lifeline can hold her own in any battle, and with Armed and Dangerous, I think you've really got to be very decisive in what you're doing, very decisive in when you push and when you don't. Unfortunately, it doesn't always go right, because decision making is one of the hardest things. But as you can see there, this guy didn't know. Now, I'm being shot at again. Now, literally, as you can see, it gives me kill leader. Yeah, okay, only 3 kills, not really anything to speak about. But, you know, you get then the sort of like the drone, and I've already replenished. So I'm already able to heal up. And sort of, you know, reload my gun eventually, which I do, thankfully. But you can see that I'm regaining health. Now, if I'd had shields, I would have been in a very good place. However, I didn't. Okay, fine. But because you've always got that health option, I mean, already, you know, by the time I've healed, 20 seconds before the heal drone again. Now, unfortunately, I get shot at again by somebody, seemingly with a triple take. Seems to be at least 2 other enemies. I'm fortunate enough to at least have a couple of syringes, so I'm able to use one just to replenish my health. But we, of course, then have to deal with an Octane, and I don't know who the other character or legend was. I didn't see them, because one of the other people killed them, so always good. But yeah, I literally mark out that there's hostiles, run round, literally they push. Oh, it was a Pathfinder, yeah, that's right. Good old Pathfinder, gotta love them. But again, able to, you know, do the drone. I mean, look how fast this is. You know, I really am being able to be the medic stroke healer, you know, and it is really good. And, you know, I mean, I will be going into sort of tier lists and things about each legend at some point. So look out for that regarding the new sort of season buffs and changes. But you can sort of see I'm able to shield up, you know, literally able to get him revived. It's really good. Definitely one of those things, and you know, you can sort of see that I'm able to take down then the Octane, which is fine. Had to back off because, of course, of no health. Revive him again, and of course, you know, literally am able to heal up and sort of see what I'm doing. Now, literally, as you can sort of see now, I've got the Pathfinder up, what, 2-3 times. My passive just recharges straight away. There's no wait for it. And it is really good, and I'm able then to get my purple shield back and use a Phoenix kit, because I actually found one for a change, and I'm able to replenish and of course get the health back, which is really nice. Yeah, so I mean, we move on from Octane's jump pad, pretty much killed everyone here, wandered around a little bit, and then we end up over in sort of near a place I call Death Village, along with a friend of mine. So we basically, the Mirage had pushed, got himself unfortunately killed, There was one, I believe, Wraith left, which was fine. Unfortunately, they killed him before I could do anything, but wasn't really much able to kill him and finish him off. Now, I've got the guy on mic actually going, just pick up my banner and respawn me, like we didn't know. Cleverly enough, the Pathfinder had actually done the banner, and he deployed a thing as well, a beacon. The guy on the mic is going, yeah, deploy a beacon. It's like, we know. I know some people don't understand the mobile beacons, but because the mode's been out for about a week, I think most of us kind of know that, it's mobile beacons rather than normals. I try to respawn him because, of course, it's part of my challenge. Unfortunately, the Pathfinder managed to do it just before me. It still lets me go through the motions, but he respawned and I didn't count for me, unfortunately. Real shame, but I think I only need about 6 left, so it's one of those things. Now, the last bit is just really showing that, when you are with good teammates, it can make a difference. And then when they make bad decisions, if you're with randoms, it can really, unfortunately, lose you the game. And this is kind of really what happens here. Now, we're in a good position. We're just on the outskirts of the ring. We know that there's another team that want to come in. And we know that, we've got the upper hand. But this is where, someone playing too aggressively can kind of ruin that. And it's one of those things where it's a real shame. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand it. I've been there myself. I used to main Bloodhound a lot, especially early on and when Mirage wasn't as viable or as good. I used to main sort of Bloodhound more than Mirage, probably, sort of between the two. And I played over aggressive a lot. And I found that exactly the problem that is going to show in a little bit. And that is that you can overextend, you can try and get the kills, you're so thirsty for the kills that you end up being shot, which is a real pain. And, you think that you can take on like 3 legends, 2 legends or whatever, and you can't. And this is what this Mirage player was doing. I mean, he wasn't a bad player, he was competent, but I'm trying to say, let's go into the circle, let's get position, there's 4 squads left, 3 if you don't include us. But no, the Pathfinder and the Mirage go and push. And I'm literally pinging here like over and over again. I'm like, now I could have backed him up, but I'm like, come on, let's just go over here. I knew there were 2 squads there. There was one on the side and one on the other. We were going to get sandwiched if we didn't move. But no, then the Pathfinder gets downed, which is really unfortunate. So of course, I left with no choice. I could camp, but then you're now 1 person against maybe 2 or 3. So I try and be the supportive kind of person, and I run forwards to try and, of course, stop it, but the Pathfinder dies. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough range with the Eva to really do enough damage, and the Mirage gets downed as well, and then it ends very badly because, although I literally am trying to do it, it just ends up really badly, and of course we get eliminated. Real shame, but there you go. But the second game, however, was, of course, a lot better. It was a very weird game, I have to say, and I feel that this kind of game was one that maybe you couldn't really write it on paper and say this is how the game's going to go, because I didn't expect any of this. Now, just bear in mind that, when you go through a lot of games and you're trying to, get wins, because naturally, everyone wants the badge, it would be nice to get. I'm really close to it, actually, which is kind of why, wins are nice. Wins are pleasant, and this is kind of a good example of how it can be if it goes well. But Bloodhound and the Lifeline land differently for me. He gets downed, which is really unfortunate. I'm able to make the guy back off, and of course I'm invisible, so from that distance I'm able to get the revive and clutch that out as well, which is really good. And when you sort of you're trying to just keep things moving, trying to sort of keep the enemies confused. I'll throw out a decoy at the box. Funnily enough, everyone ignored it, which was ironic, really. No one really took any notice of my decoy. So it's sort of, oh, right, okay, well, that's good. People, I think a lot of people see a Mirage and they honestly think it's a decoy. And I think there's some amazing clever plays that you could do where you just pretend to be the decoy and literally then kind of, fool them and catch people out. But anyway, I mean, of course, we then back off a little bit just for a time. We realise that there are some people shooting on top of the supply ship, so we don't want to get sandwiched between 2 squads. We pretty much just check out the building. There isn't really much there, to be honest, and we kind of just go from there. Now we realise that the supply ship is a good place to start, so we of course head over there, and that's where I sort of ping that there are enemies. Now I literally say, right, okay, let's go onto the zip line, let's jump up, let's actually kind of like attack. The Bloodhound scans, which kind of gives away that there is someone nearby. Bit unfortunate, but there you go. And I was about to pick up the Peacekeeper, but the other guy grabs it initially. But one of those things, you've got to be the fastest, I suppose. Now, I kind of contemplating, do I jump up, do I not? But I'm waiting for the Lifeline to catch up, which he does. And then I managed to shoot one of them, which I believe is a Bloodhound. So that was quite good. Get him down. And of course, go from there. Now this Lifeline actually drops me the Peacekeeper. I'm like, oh right, okay, yeah, I'll definitely 100% have that. And then I catch that there's a revival going on just right below. So I decide to shoot the Caustic down, because that one's going to be the one to kill. Kill him down, knock him down, job done. Thank you very much. Absolutely perfect. And it becomes a tough choice between, swapping out armors. But I'd always advise that, if you take a lower tier armor, always a good idea. Find a purple in the end, and we end up then coming over because there's a respawn beacon flying in and a respawn ship coming in. So we decide to push because we know that there's going to be at least one person quite weak. Try and jump over the cliff, would fail a little bit, but yeah, that's one of those things. And come running through the building. Now immediately then I spot one of them. I believe it was a Lifeline, just coming up on here. Take her down because as you do, which is always nice. The other squad was quite near, but one elimination, great, and then we literally end up straight into the fight with the others. Always a thing. Now I like using the ultimate. Realise there's only one left, and we take him down. Job done. Lovely. So that is of course some squads down, and this is always a good feeling. You're getting some kills, you're getting some things. Now this bit is probably the most crazy part. Well, there's two crazy parts actually, the end and this, but this probably is the most crazy still, regardless, and you'll kind of see why. So I go scouting ahead, I see a squad, I decide to engage because that's what I like to do, and yeah, I mean, like, when I look at it, I do think that, unfortunately, it could have been maybe planned out a little better, could have waited a little bit, throw a couple of grenades, the Bloodhound gets knocked down, so of course Lifeline's using her passive to do the revives, which is really good. And then I see, I believe, a Mirage, and I get downed, and that was really unfortunate. Very good shots from that particular player, and I missed mine. So again, luckily though, of course Lifeline's there on hand to get me up with the passive. I tried to get away. Unfortunately, I get downed, and I watch the rest of this from the point of being down. Now, this was clutch. The Lifeline is now literally the only one left. Gets the passive up on the Bloodhound, downed 2. There's another one over here, and I'm thinking, oh my good God, is this going to happen? But luckily, they do a really good job. And they clutch out that particular thing, and of course, manage to get us up. Very close indeed. Very nerve-wracking, and I downed, I think, the other person with a knockdown shield. So we survive. It was tense, definitely very tense, and a bit of a relief that we're still alive and in the fight. I don't know how, really. I have to say that was a bit of a sweat, blood and tears, but we pulled through, and it feels pretty damn nice to still be alive. I won't complain, definitely not. Now, we of course, after healing up and checking a few boxes, we end up over literally past market. We rooted there for a little bit and then moved on. We hear that there's literally 2 squads left, and we realise that this is a great time to now actually engage. Literally can't see anyone. I mean, the scope that I'm using probably isn't my favourite, but it's better than a short scope, so it's one of those things where it's quite hard to land your shot sometimes. I do like it. It's definitely one worth having over a 2 times or anything on a longbow, but a 2x4 or even a 4x8 would be more ideal. But you can't be beggars can't be choosers in this case. Now there is literally 3 squads altogether, 2 if you don't include us, 1 knocked down. So we know that there's at least 1 person down, but we don't want to push in between the fight. But it looks like then the other squad gets eliminated. So we realise then that there are at least 2. Now, the only thing that I will say is that, yes, I do grab a Peacekeeper with more ammo in it, because I figure that that's a good idea. And initially, my plan is to go and push. But then I realised that, you know, when you look at the storm, you realise that there are 50 seconds left, and it's not a great idea. And I kind of think twice of that, and I'm literally like, no, maintain your position, actually. Which they did anyway, so it was fine. We're not on mic, so all I can do is ping and go, actually, let's keep this position. So yeah, so this is a great example of what bad judgment and good judgment can be. I made a bad judgment going over on the zip line. However, I made a correction on it and then sort of went, actually, let's be sensible. They're in a worse position than we are. We don't know where the ring's necessarily going to go, but hopefully we can gain the upper hand and keep our positions. And this is kind of what we did. And I think this is where, you know, making a good decision to a bad decision can really make a difference. It is so easy to make a bad decision. And we've all been there, 100% of the time. It's just that we make a bad judgment, we push when we shouldn't have, we make a kind of a decision where you think that you can win a fight, and sometimes you kind of end up losing. I try and take some shots at the Octane, don't succeed unfortunately there, but that's one of those things. And I pick out that there's a thing, I dodge back eye on the rock because I realise that one shot, then another. It's always best to keep moving, and this is where, you know, you just have to literally keep on ducking cover, running around, you know, trying to pop up those shots, because you know that the hills are limited, so we can weaken them but not stay still. And I realised then that, you know, of course, with the ring, the next ring is going to come again in a different place. So we realised that then there's a lifeline up in the building as well, so there actually is 3 of them, which is fine. And I literally then say, well, okay, let's kind of try our best to maintain where we are, and of course gain that position for the next storm. So realizing then that of course the storm's going to be in our favor, not theirs, I figure let's get the height position, which we do. So I fail horribly to claim up the building initially. I don't know why, but yeah, that's just one of those things. Sometimes the controllers like to test you at the best of times. So yeah, so of course now I've got the roof, literally got the position. I throw out a decoy because I like to kind of make them think that I am a decoy, or that the decoy is me, and it does work sometimes, you know, it doesn't always, but when it does, it's very, very effective. Now, you can sort of see, I mean, like, from the shots of that range, I know that the bullet drop-off isn't going to be the best. I initially dropped shield cells for the Bloodhound, who's saying that he needs some. This was a bit of a miscommunication, to be fair, because he then gets downed. I jumped down to try and revive him, but then the lifeline's right close, and then I managed to get stuck on the door. Don't ask, it's not my proudest moment, but there you go. So realising that, of course, we've still got the upper hand. Fortunately, the Bloodhound is now back up, which is a relief. Thankfully, we've now got good position, and we can literally try and pick off the squads. Now, what I do is, of course, I check that the shield cells have been taken, which they have. I throw out another decoy in a moment. That's again just to try and gain that little bit of upper hand to, you know, get someone to be baited. And he does. Someone baits. So it's like, oh, right, okay, thank you. Now we know where we are. Shoot him. Lovely, job done. Now, one of the things is that, you know, when you're being shot at, you've got to duck cover. You've got to be very, very clever. Waiting to see if anyone pushed, they didn't, so I see the Wraith in the building. She fortunately didn't really kind of do anything, and then I see the Lifeline running towards them as well, so I'm able to get some shots on. I realise that this is the time to push. So I throw a thermite, of course, which hits the roof. Yeah, no, won't ask about that one. Shoot down the Lifeline, of course, and go back to support my 2 teammates who actually are dealing with the Octane. I do get kill leader as well, which enabled me to get the double crown badge, so that was pretty cool as well. So if you liked the content, found it informative and enjoyable, please drop a like. And if you want to subscribe for future content, I will be posting regular videos about various Apex related content. But otherwise, remember to never stop moving, never stop believing, and stay Apex. Until next time, I shall see you in the next video. So have a great rest of the day, and you take care. Cheers now. Bye.